Happy Mother's Day. This is my article number two review. I chose to review the article Middle School Teachers' Perceptions of Computer Assisted Reading Intervention Programs. And this research article was done by Kelly Bippert and Janice Harmon. Really, the purpose of this study was to see how computer assisted intervention programs worked for middle school and high school, like at risk reading students. Um, they really focused on some major questions about in what ways are computer assisted reading intervention programs utilized? What are teachers' perceptions about these intervention programs? And really to see how well that they actually worked. Um, so kind of going on of it, they found out that there's three major categories that they focused in: teaching experiences, program use, and the technology. And so this article had about 19 middle and high school reading teachers that actually participated in the study. And they came from 12 different schools and 5 different school districts. These varied from urban, suburban, and rural school districts. So it was a really wide band. Another thing that really varied a lot was the teaching experience and the background in like reading and reading intervention. It varied greatly. Only 3 of the teachers actually that they interviewed had 10 or more years of experience when it came to teaching. Um, so this article is really interested because what kind of guided this was a lot of middle school and high school students are currently reading well below their reading grade level. And 44% of students are unprepared to actually meet the demands of college level reading, which I found that extremely eye opening. Um, and you can kind of see it nowadays in school that our students are just they're scoring lower and lower. So this was mainly done in South Central Texas, and so that was the school districts that they really focused on. But what they wanted to do is they wanted to see in what ways teachers used computer assisted reading intervention programs and what are the teachers' actual perceptions of this. So that was really their purpose of it. So they focused on 3 different reading intervention programs that were computer assisted. They had Read 180, they had Achieve 3000, and they have Station. And those all kind of varied greatly. Well, they saw positives and negatives from all 3 of these. So they went through about 3 phases when they were looking at all of their findings. The first phase, the researchers read the transcriptions for each program and they kind of completed a chart that compared each individual um, participants' response. In phase 2, they created a file for each intervention program with each file containing the summaries for the prompts. And then finally, they used what was noted about teacher perceptions of the use of these reading intervention programs. And so most of the teachers acknowledged that there were limitations, and a lot of them supplemented other materials to actually um, reach what the students' needs were, while they found positives and negatives from both. So the teachers reported they did about 1 to 3 days of training sessions with these programs. And but again, they did supplement their own stuff based off of like the state assessment. So they noticed, technology use and the issues where it wasn't consistent, lack of material. So, like the headphones being used. And a lot of them did say with all of these programs that keeping students engaged was really hard. Some of I think it was Station, kind of, they felt like it, in a sense, kind of dumbed it down too much for the kids. And it was just repetitive. So, if they couldn't get to the intervention programs consistently, it would start them over. So they'd be constantly repeating these things. So one of the big things and big takeaway that I know I really want to look at when it comes to my own research is um, there hasn't been a lot of research done on computer-based intervention programs. And so in order to gain more knowledge, more intervention needs to be done and more research needs to be done in regards to computer-based intervention and how well it actually works, and what teachers have to do or not do. So they haven't found a technology-based reading intervention that does exactly what teachers are wanting it to do. And so I'm hoping that this year I can actually take a look at a different program and see how it works in our middle school reading intervention. Um, it was a really great study to read, and it was really interesting on the findings that they came across.